Okay. Well, here we go. We are going to get started with the shareholders meeting for this week. I'm gonna give it just a minute, let anybody get here that might, but yeah. So we'll just start at the start. The most important numbers. So this week we actually have a profit, believe it or not. And you probably shouldn't believe it because these numbers are a little bit of a liar. And we'll go into that as we get a little bit deeper in. But technically, after everything, I have $274 more this week than I did last. Um, so, unfortunately, with the startup costs that we had, that doesn't mean all that much, but it does bring the number down. Um, we are still $202 in the negative for the business, but that's just startup costs. So we were $477 in the negative last week with the profit from this week, which is $274. We are still $200 in the negative, but that's a step in the right direction. I put about 20 hours in this week, and so if we count profit, that's 274. It's about $15 an hour. Well, no, it's about $14 an hour, 13.75. If I put in our real number though, which is D2, still uh, negative $10 an hour, and that's not counting the other 300 hours. So if I put 320, yeah, still losing 60 cents for every hour I work on this, but that's better than it was last week. Let me fix my numbers real quick. So let's just jump in and look at what actually happened to get us these numbers this week. And so the first things first, and this is one of the first caveats to that number that we were looking at, is that I forgot that I have a Patreon set up. And Patreon has been paying me out each month. I don't have all that many patrons right now, but I do have some, and I would like to shout them out real quick, actually. So let me find my phone so I can read off those names. Uh, let's see. So there's got to be an easy way to see who your patrons are, right? Uh, let's see. Hmm. Okay, this is uh, um let me try this then. Um, should have had this set up before, but it's all good. Um, here we go. Okay. Checking out. So my Patreon from before was for Make It for Less, which was what the channel was called before. I have updated it somewhat recently, and now it is Keep Everything Yours. So let's see. We can go to my audience, go away, sort by current tier. Okay. So here are the people that are active current patrons, and it is Pam, Kim, Robin, Marcelino, Ryan, Recreated, Elias, Connor, and Samuel. So I want to thank all of those people for their support and continuing to do so. I will have the Patreon linked in the description if anybody else wants to join, but there is no requirement for it. Yeah, I just want to thank those people very much for their support. And with their support, that was an extra. It's an extra, $21 a month here. So over the last 3 months, and I forgot to count this in the first video, which is why I'm adding the January and February here. But I got paid out for Patreon March here, $21. So that's cool. Two sales so far this week. One on the 6th, one on the 7th. This one's a little bit higher because they paid for expedited shipping, so I don't actually get to see that increase in money because I have to pay for the expedited shipping that they requested, but that's that. And then this is the other caveat that makes it so that the profit number isn't actually all that impressive. I returned $196 in Amazon stuff. So that's where a lot of the quote unquote profit comes from, or income comes from. It isn't technically income because it was something that I bought, but it does make the negative number to go down. So that's why it's in this income section. Expenses. So I did buy a couple more things on Amazon, just two, and let's see, they were down here. I bought some more USB-C cables and some more 1.3-inch OLED displays because I needed to for those cats that I sold. I had to get the parts to make things, so those were actually legitimate business purchases and not just something for like R&D, which is what a lot of this other stuff was. So I returned a bunch of humidifiers, and these are some more expensive displays that I didn't end up needing. And I bought too many RP2040s, so I returned those. So a lot of this stuff I didn't end up needing, and that's why it was returned. And so that's why it's over here. And then expenses, I just spent some more money on ads. It's usually about $1 a day right now. That's kind of the minimum you can do on Etsy, so that's what I have it set to. Still not seeing a ton of return. Maybe I'll just turn them all the way off because the sales that I got this week actually weren't from ads. I'm not sure where they were from. And then Etsy fees took out $15. Etsy shipping took out $23. And this number again is a little high because it actually one person paid for expedited shipping, so it makes that number look higher. So total $73 in expenses, which refer to over here. These are all the things that I bought. Most of these are returns, actually. The parentheses means they're negative, which is things I bought, and then these ones are the returns here. As far as posts, I didn't make too many posts this week. I made I posted basically this live stream from last week as its own video here, and then I posted two shorts about the little robot cats. They did okay, not like the most amazing ever, but not too bad either. Tell you exact numbers. Hold on. Let's see if I can pull those up. Okay, so this one right here, this cat short got, and this is me making one. It got 1.3K views and where's the likes? 51 likes. This one, which was like packing up an order that I got, that got 1.2K views and 20 likes. So people are looking at them, but they're not doing all that crazy. And then the last thing to talk about this week is products. So I don't have anything listed here because I haven't actually posted any new products, but I have two things I'm working on. Let's get the camera going. The first one, this cable here. So the first one is a variation on the desk cat. So it's this guy right here. Instead of being a cat, it's a little devil. And I don't have the touch sensor working quite right. It's in there, but the spacing and stuff's not quite right yet. So I take the touch sensor out here. But this guy, instead of hearts when you press his little button, you click it and his eyes become little flames. And he's so angry. His little flame eyes. I'm working on the animation and the drawing and stuff, but they're there. Yeah, so that's one of the things I worked on. Then the other thing I worked on is this, which is like a 3-key macro pad. Um, and it's not quite done yet either. But we plug it in. So basically, the gimmick or the nice thing about this one is that if you hold the middle button while you plug it in, you're going to see that it flashes blue, and that puts it into a sort of a programming mode. And when it's in that programming mode, okay, this must not be a data USB-C cable, which is unfortunate. Well, I'll just describe it briefly. When you put this into programming mode, text you can access a text file or a JSON text file that you can actually go in and on the fly edit what these keys do and the colors that they light up and stuff like that. And it's just going to be basically a macro pad. So I didn't actually make the device, like the hardware. It's from a company called Waveshare. They sell this little hardware, but I put my custom firmware on there, and I'm going to uh, try to sell those. So I have most of the Etsy listing up. I need to make a video on how to actually program it yourself. And then once that's done, this will be up, and hopefully people will want to buy that one as well. Um, it works pretty well, and it's got nice lights and stuff. There's not much more I can say about it without a better USB-C cable, but I'm not gonna go grab that right now. And I think that's everything that really happened in this last week. Now that they're on the weekly basis, there'll be a little bit shorter videos because there's not as much to talk about, but uh, that should be everything. Thank you to anyone who may or may not have tuned in.